Welcome back to CryptoZonZ, peer-to-peer, trustless, permissionless, decentralized news gets you into CryptoZonZ. Let go of the burden. That's what we're going to talk about today. And so this is going to be underneath one of the headings of zones with CryptoZonZ having to do with personal development or personal growth, I mean. And what I wanted to do was just to be open with my life with you, to let you in as far as some of my experience, some of my past experiences, some of the things that I've struggled with in the past to help me to get to where I am today. And I think that, well, I know that true success doesn't have anything to do with cryptos or money or belongings or anything material or temporary. It has to do with things that are longer lasting, like people, or knowing what the truth is, something that will last beyond this life, or relationships that are deep and meaningful, things of that nature. And actually, as far as the endeavors that I undertake within the CryptoZonZ, the reason why I do those things is so that I can free up my time, develop more and more of a financial base, because not that finances are primary, like I was just alluding or just discussing. They certainly are not primary. They're secondary at best. What is more important are how successful are you in relationships, how successful are in your self-image, how successful are you in achieving the goals that you set out to accomplish in your life. I just set up here in a very quiet, calm, and peaceful place. So there's a very light breeze. I got a great sun in the sky. It's just a wonderful paradisical day. But today is my first day back from a extended weekend or a mini vacation, and it was just completely awesome. I did absolutely nothing of what I planned to do. What I wanted to do was to get out of Dodge and to go somewhere to get away from the rat race. But what I ended up doing is just sheltering in place. I hate saying that. I hate that notion. I hate that idea, because it just seems to be something that's forced. But what I ended up doing was having such a just very simple, peaceful, calm time with my wife. And we had about 5 days to just, she did some things that she wanted to do. I did some things that I wanted to do. We gave each other space, but we practically never left each other's presence. We were in the same abode the entire time, went on a couple of walks. But what was so enjoyable about it is that without even spending a dime practically, I mean, I didn't go out and buy a weekend at a hotel, or didn't spend money on the things that you would spend on when you're away. And that was somewhat an alleviance, if that's a word, of pressure or stress. We just had such a simple, great time, and it was very, very peaceful. There was just no one around, and was able to sleep in every day if I wanted to. I still woke up in the 4 o'clock hour a lot of time, but then if I did that out of habit and continued to stay up, I went back for a nap at about, it was just wonderful. But as far as let go of the burden, I mean, there's plenty in my past that I've learned from. I have made so many mistakes. But one of the fundamental and basic and most powerful truths that I've learned from my experience, as many of the failures that I've been responsible for, is that what's most important is, what do you do from what you learn, or do you even learn? And one of the most powerful, or one of the most incredible, moving sayings that I've ever heard, I can't quote it verbatim here, but it essentially has to do with failures are not failures, they're stepping stones to greater success. And of course, the key is, do we learn from them? I mean, I still have things that I'm paying for from mistakes that I've made 20 years ago. And am I proud of that? No. But one key thing is that I've never given up. Have I been close to giving up? Yeah. There was a period in my time, maybe about 15 years ago, where I kind of gave up for about 7 years. I just got a really bad attitude, and I was very frustrated, very angry, and I was manifesting a lot of that out in my life, and it really caused a lot of damage to relationships and the people who I said I loved. And my intention was not to do that, but after a certain amount of time of continuing to do the same things that don't work, well, that really is, as we all know, what is the definition of insanity. I got to a point where I was so hard-headed and had such a forehead like flint that it took such a long time for me to really humble out or to even realize how deep and how terrible some of the mistakes that I had been involved in and had been continuing on in were in the damage they were doing to relationships around me, that it took so much personal pain. And I have great experience with pain, both in relationships and also with addictive, shall we say, rewards, or I don't call them rewards in the sense of something that good that I mean, there's been a lot of bad things that have come out of some of the bad actions that I was involved in, some of the bad habits, and much of that revolved around being addicted. My drug of choice was beer, and I didn't realize it so much, but I was escaping, and it was a great escape. But it was an escape from the truth. What I was doing was pacifying or easing the pain in my heart, in my mind, of frustration. And I was happy being miserable for years and years and years. And I am very thankful that I got to a point where I made a decision. I mean, there was one day, it was August 28th of 2003, where I woke up. I could have easily had the liberty and freedom to go out and do anything I wanted, to go to that liquor store to buy that 12-pack or case. And I decided, because of all of the situations and circumstances that I'd brought on to myself that I had to deal with, that I really decided I had to do something different. And that first thing was to not drink that day. And the terrible thing about it is there are other addictive tendencies that I think we all have as individuals, that for many or most, or maybe even all of us, they develop from bad experiences that we may have had as a very young person, that were dealt out to us from adults, people who were responsible, people who knew better many times. But we come out of that into being 18 or 21 or being out on our own, so to speak, and we're still dealing with a lot of pressures that cause a lot of anxiety. I'm so thankful for where I'm at right now. The quitting drinking was the second best thing I ever did in my life. The very next day, I had jingle in my pocket because I had extra change, which, having a greater financial base, was a great benefit, to be able to be more free to do more things that I could do out of my own personal choice. It was the first day that I could really start to begin to make healthy decisions. Now, fast forward, 16 years and 8 months or so, right thereabouts. My life is so much different, and it is so different. There is so much less drama, so much less life-sucking energy, life's energy that is being sucked out of me for derogatory or negative purposes, that now I'm able to snowball or steamroll that into things that have a much better, more honorable end game. And so it's easy for me, or it would be easy for anybody, to look back with regrets, but I really don't. I mean, there may have been a time where I really had a lot of regrets, but I look back at the experiences that I've had, where I came from, and even though it caused, in some cases, pain that to a large degree was irreparable, what I have decided, and I've gotten to a point where I am thankful for those experiences. And I think back to my childhood, and I had two awesome parents. Were they perfect? No. But they were doing the best that they could at that time. I had great fortune. I mean, my parents were together for over 50 years. And as I mentioned, were they perfect? No. I felt some pain. I felt there were some very negative experiences there, and I imagine all of us have that because, as I mentioned, our parents, or the people, even if we were raised by non-parents, this is the first time that they were really trying to go, this is their first shot at it. They didn't know everything that they could have been doing. They didn't, in many cases, they didn't know any better, and they were actually repeating a lot of the things that they were taught in their childhood. But the point I'm trying to make here is I look back and I don't have regrets. I actually am very forgiving. I completely and 100% forgive anything that I felt a lot of pain from. And I do want to say that there wasn't really that much pain that I had to deal with because of my parents, but for the amount that I did feel it was unjust, I've forgiven them completely. Mom's just turned 90 yesterday. My dad passed away a little bit early at the age of 83, but I realized that I have, even after his passing, or really at the point of his passing, I realized so many of the things that I never really gave a lot of credence to, or never really focused a lot of thankfulness on, as far as the things that I saw going on. I mean, he was a great family man, and I'm honored to have been his son, or to be his son. So the title of this is to let the burden go. And if you can I just want to encourage you, if you're dealing with addictions or stresses or anger or frustration in particular, which I can totally relate to, please feel free to call me or email me or leave a contact in the notes. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I do CryptoZonZ, and I do videos like this with the heart to give or to add value to others, to do something to better the world. Hashtag love all, serve others is my hashtag. You can Google that and you'll see a lot of the videos or articles that I've written. And that's just my wholehearted intention. It's not for me, it's for me and for others too. There's something that I'm missing here in talking about before I wrap up, and what I want to discuss, or what I want to certainly focus on at the ending here, is that to the experience that I've had, as far as to be able to lighten the load, to let go of the burden, I would be very sorry if you had to experience the amount of pain that I've gone through, and mine is like this much compared to so many people. But mine was enough. I mean, there was one period in my life I literally cried myself to sleep for probably 100 days. And it was a great experience. Was it an experience I enjoyed? Not at all. But that isn't the definition of what great is. I learned a lot through all of that. And struggles or failures are actually teaching moments. And we're allowed to go through those things so that, and this is my deep conviction, so that we can be able to be that person for someone in the future who's going through a very similar situation. We can very much empathize and sympathize with them, and be able to share with them some of the things that we learned, and we can be an encouragement to others in a very, very profound and powerful way. So I just want to encourage you to somehow, some way, if you haven't already, let go of that burden. A very key thing is to be able to have someone who you can be open with, and that is a very, very careful or cautious thing. You've got to be able to find someone who you can trust deeply enough that you know wholeheartedly that they won't go around and tell everybody. So we've got to be able to share from the bottom of our heart and be open. And the best way that a human is able to do that is to be able to do that in such a way where it won't be broadcast. We have to be able to find someone who we're safe with. I have, and I can count, I mean, I am got to be one of the most fortunate people in the face of the earth, and I sincerely, wholeheartedly believe that. I can count on this many, and even a little bit more, people who I call deep, close, lifelong friends. And I think that if someone has just one of those, or possibly two, that is more than the vast, vast majority of people who've ever lived ever have. And the biggest secret, the quick secret, the profound secret about that is how do you gain that kind of a friend? I'll tell you right here. It starts with you giving. Some way, somehow, you give value, you help, You give away without expecting anything back. And the people who resonate with that will come back to you. And that's the way that great, deep, long-lasting relationships are built. And it's even because of some of those relationships that I've been able to develop that has given me the ability or enablement to be able to have the freedom to do some CryptoZonZ channel. If you've resonated or if you found some value, please like and subscribe so that others can hear this also. And do me a favor and click on the green planet there. Appreciate that. I wish you well. I wish you wealth. I wish you health. # love all, serve others. And until next time, peace.